Hi everyone, it's Alyssa from the Township of Washington Library, and I'm here in my kitchen. Today I want to share with you some more really awesome teen reads, some new, some old, some in between, some things that you might want to check out if you're not sure what to read next. So we're going to start with actually some graphic novels. The first two I read, they're actually middle grade graphic novels, but as an adult, I thought they were awesome. And so you may enjoy them too, especially if you love graphic novels, but you've already read all of the ones that we have to offer. So keep in mind that the characters in these graphic novels are younger than probably you are, and some of the situations that they're going through might seem a little simplified, but that's the audience for who these books were written for. But I really appreciated them as an adult, so we'll talk about why. The first one that I read was Seance Tea Party. This is brand new. This is by Ramina Yi, and I love the illustrations in this. So if you're into graphic novels and illustration, I think you're really going to enjoy the style of this one. I love the typeface text. I love the colors. I love the style. And this is really great. I think that everybody can relate to this one. So this is about our main character, and she is not getting along with her friends because they're all trying to grow up too fast, and she still wants to use her imagination and have fun and not worry about being an adult before you need to be. And she's looking for a friend, and she meets the ghost who haunts her house. And along the way, the two of them try to figure out life, her previous life, and her growing up and being a big kid with some of the older kids and the kids in her grade. I think she's 13. I think she turns 13 in this book. So through the course of the time, she learns how to make new friends thanks to the help of her household ghost. And her household ghost learns a little bit more about her past because she couldn't remember her living life. And she even meets a friend of hers from back when she was a little girl. And so the whole story revolves around friendship and growing up and imagination and being yourself when the time is right. So I really loved this one. This will be in our juvenile graphic novel section. I definitely recommend it for everyone. Okay, the next one that I have is another, Miss Marie called them, they're like, it's appropriate that we're getting these all around Halloween. This is called The Witches of Brooklyn by Sophie Escabese. I really liked this one. This is a lot of fun. And it says number 1 over here, so I think there's going to be more. So this was really fun to read. This is about a girl named Effie, and she is an orphan. Her mother passes away. She doesn't know much about her dad, so she has to move in with her aunt and her aunt's friend, and strange things are happening. Her aunts are a little weird. So this is all about Effie kind of navigating the emotions of her new life and learning about life with her aunts and what her aunties are up to. I really like this one as well. I like the characterizations in this one. This is one of those books where I really like showing everybody why graphic novels are really good for all kinds of readers, because the expressions that the characters have in this book are really wonderful and well spelled out and well illustrated. And the storyline in this is just a lot of fun, and it's all about just Effie learning about herself and her place in the world of her aunties and their magical powers. And I thought this was a lot of fun. I do hope that there's a second one, and I can't wait to read it. So again, this one will also be in the juvenile graphic novel section. The next one that I have is a nonfiction graphic novel section that's in our young adult section. But you'll find it not under nonfiction, you'll find it under graphic novels. This is called Amazons, Abolitionists, and Activists. This is by Mickey Kendall. It's a graphic history of women's fight for their lives. And this is really awesome. This one follows a diverse-looking group of students as they travel through history and learn all about different sorts of activists for women, for civil rights, for LGBTQ rights, for the whole gamut. And there are some people you might not know. So I like the illustration in this is very comic style, kind of traditional comic style. I really like it. And there are all sorts of different activists and their stories, and it follows a timeline. And there are people from all walks of life. You have indigenous people, you have people of color, you have Frederick Douglass, who's not a woman, but they talk about what his contribution was to suffrage. You have even up to some modern pop icons who are helping awareness for all sorts of different causes. Queens, lawmakers, singers, everybody. I mean, really, it starts from ancient Greece and it goes all the way up to today. So there's a little bit of a history lesson. I mean, ancient China, ancient Korea. I mean, this really goes on and on. And the nice thing about this is while it's a great little history primer of its own, you also will find out what topics or who interests you, and you can go ahead and study them a little bit more in depth. There's a whole section about women's suffrage. There's a page about the shirtwaist factory when that burned down and rights for women workers. And then, of course, all about civil rights as well. This page features some of the folks who were part of the women's movement and in relation to voting and after voting was passed. Some of you may know that this was the 100th year anniversary of women's suffrage, but that was not for Black women. So the fight continues, and it details some of that as well, which is really wonderful. It talks about in wartime, in current times, all sorts of activists and what they've done, women's liberation, the AIDS crisis and how that affected women, and the women who were on the forefront of that as well. So this is really varied. And I know it's not that big for all of the stuff that's covered, but like I said, this is a really great starting point if you want to study some really awesome, fantastic, kick-butt figures in women's history. So this one is in our graphic novel section. Okay, so let's do a new one. This one came out while we were away from the library. This one came out in May. This is The Betrothed by Kira Cass. I know some of our readers are really into the selection series, especially lately. Those have been going out. There's a little bit of a resurgence there. And so when I read reviews, it seemed like this is pretty similar to the selection series, but it's its own story. This is the first in a series. There is going to be a second one. I don't know when the second one will come out or if it has a title or not yet. I don't think it does. That's why I don't know. But this is about a girl who lives in a castle with her family, and she catches the interest of the king, and she needs to suddenly learn how to be royal because she believes that he's going to propose to her to be queen, and it's all about the trials and tribulations as she tries to figure out if she loves the king, if she wants to be queen, and what does she have to do to be diplomatic enough to be the queen of a country that could easily go to war. It's a really easy read. It's simple. It's not super deep. So if you're looking for a really easy weekend read that might turn into something deeper once we get to the sequel, give it a try, especially if you like the selection series. This is a pretty easy read. It was a really quick read. And like I said, it's fun. It's not deep. It's not harrowing or too serious. And they talk a lot about pretty clothes. So you know what? Why not? All right, my next read is one that is really popular, and I think a lot of you know this one, but if you don't know this one, where have you been? I actually finally just finished reading this one because y'all always had it checked out, so it became available to me because of quarantine, I guess, and that is, of course, One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I have not gotten my hands on the sequel yet. I'll have to check it when I get back to the library later this week. We do need a new copy of this, so if you'd like to read this, you can order it through bccls.org with your library card, or call us or email me, and I can help you place a hold on it, but we are not going to have a copy at the library because one of you wrote a spoiler on the edge of the pages. And so admittedly, it was not as fun reading it, knowing what happens, and I was able to pick up pretty early on that the spoiler was accurate. So thanks to whoever did that. I'm going to order a fresh copy for everyone. This one also is a little well-loved, which means I know that y'all really like it. So don't forget that there is a sequel, One of Us is Next. And the Karen M. McManus does have another unrelated book, and I believe that one is Two Can Keep a Secret. So this is the story about 5 kids who are in detention one day after school. They don't understand what brought them to detention, and only 4 of them make it out. So the whole book is about how the 4 of them are being accused for the one and his murder. And they're trying to put together all of these clues that keep popping up, and it's like the kid who passed is still coming back. And he's gone. They had a funeral for him. He's gone, but they're trying to figure out where all of these new tidbits of information are coming from. And as everything becomes uncovered, we figure out what happened, or do we? There are some red herrings, there are some misleading steps along the way. The characters are really cool, they're really true to life. I think you'll find things that you relate to in here, everything from sports to friendships to studying in school. So I think this is a really good one for all of our teen readers. This is definitely teen level though, I would say, just due to content, I would say 13 and up. So, but I mean, that's most of the stuff that's in the teen room. But of course, you can always ask us if you're not sure if you're ready for something level-wise or content-wise. Please ask us. We're here to help. No shame, absolutely none, no judgment. That's what I'm here for. Really interesting, though. It didn't take me that long to get through it. I really wanted to know what happened in the end, and I'm excited to read the sequel and see what happens with that. Our last book is one that you may not have known about. This is one of my favorite books that came out several years ago, and it won a Prince Award, and it was a National Book Award finalist. This is Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. This is one of the ones that I recommend most often. This is great. It is told through dual viewpoints from a guy and a girl. They're in completely different places, but they're in the same situation. This one is magical realism. This is realistic fiction, but there's something fantastical about what is happening in this story. So you follow the story of the town of Bone Gap, where things are not quite what they seem, and people are wondering what happens when people disappear, when they slip away. And there's a particular person who has disappeared in this book that we are trying to find. And when most people give up, our main character has decided that he is going to solve what happened to her, and he's going to figure it out. He has some of his own personal obstacles that put him at a disadvantage, and it's a major spoiler, so I can't say what it is, but you kind of start to figure it out a little bit. He talks about it a little bit as the story goes on. But you figure out kind of what's happening to the girl who's missing, but it's hard to understand. And is she here? Is she not here? What's happening in the town of Bone Gap? This is a really cool little mystery. It's fantastical. It's almost like its own little fairy tale, and there's a reason why it is so decorated as it is. So that is also in our tea room. This is my personal copy because I loved it so much. But it won a Prince Award for a reason, so I hope that you check it out. I really don't want to, I feel like I didn't explain that much about this one, but I don't want to give too much away because the story is really something to absorb yourself into. But I like the dual viewpoints. I like that there's some magic and fantasy in it, but it is also just about an adolescent and about being an adolescent and finding yourself and standing up for when you know that something is wrong and being brave despite the things that are holding you back. This is a really cool one. I hope that you all check it out. So those are my books for this week. I'll be back in 2 weeks with a couple more titles. As usual, new, old, everything in between. If you have requests for certain kinds of books or genres that you want me to review, let me know. I would be so happy to do that for you all. And until I see you next time, let me know if you have any questions, you need any book suggestions, go to our website. At the very top of our website, you'll see in the corner the book match form. You can fill that out. Let me know books that you liked and why. That's the important part. And books you didn't like and why. Very important. Authors that you like, things that you're interested in, and I can help set you up with a bunch of new books. Whether you need them for school or for fun, no problem, I can get you something. All right, everyone, that is it for me today. Happy reading. See you soon.